Now, following the Chattanooga attacks last year, my office received a lot of calls, emails, letters, and communications of every sort from constituents having connections to all the branches of the military. These constituents were expressing concerns about force protection at domestic bases and at international bases, especially for their families at soft targets outside the bases. Tell me, what has the Army done to improve force protection in the United States and at bases in Europe and the Middle East, where they're, sort of targets for attacks, and what other options are being considered, including the possibility of allowing soldiers to carry personal firearms on the base in order to protect themselves?
I'll defer to the Secretary on the policy pieces of that, but I've been involved in that issue for quite some time. And with respect to post camps and stations that are small, isolated, they're inside communities, such as recruiting stations, such as Chattanooga. The assessments are done by the local commanders. The Secretary, actually his previous Secretary, McHugh, authorized the commanders to go ahead and conduct their assessment and make a determination whether it was appropriate or not appropriate to arm them. So he delegated the authority in the assessment to the commanders, which is appropriate. Commanders should make those decisions because one size won't fit all. It'll depend on locality, risk, and so on. But some of the constraints on that: people have to be trained. It must be a government-owned weapon. Can't carry privately owned weapons, etc. So that's out there. Secondly, is on the larger camps and installations of Fort Hood, of Fort Bragg, of Fort Lewis, for example, in terms of carrying privately owned weapons on military bases, concealed privately owned weapons. That is not authorized. That is a DOD policy. I do not recommend that it be changed. We have adequate law enforcement on those bases to respond. You take the Fort Hood incident number 2, the one where I was the commander of 3rd Corps. Those police responded within 8 minutes, and that guy was dead. So that's pretty quick. And a lot of people died in the process of that, but that was a very fast evolving event. And I am not convinced, from what I know, that carrying privately owned weapons would have stopped that individual. I've been around guns all my life. I know how to use them. And arming our people on our military bases and allowing them to carry concealed privately owned weapons, I do not recommend that as a course of action.